Today we are talking all about storage solutions for fishing gear, kayaks, and the likes. And the reason that we are doing that is because we've been accruing a lot of items that we've been trying to review for you guys. And as we get through and we do the reviews, we find out I got like this pile of stuff that we're gonna have to, by the way, schmiv away.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to say the word, you know what I mean. But we're gonna
You know what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. We're gonna do maybe we'll do like some local meetups and we'll just like hand some of this stuff off. If that sounds interesting to you, then maybe you should be subscribed, smash a like, and all that other cool stuff. But in this video, mostly what we want to talk about is what could you do in your own garage, in your own space that you have? What are some potential solutions? We've got some really cool, what we feel are high value, pretty budget friendly solutions from Malone that we're gonna show today. We're also gonna have a whole bunch of cheaper DIY solutions and things that we picked up at like Walmart, Sam's Club, and our local favorite Menards. So we're gonna share that with you.
And how do we know what stuff works and what doesn't? We've been stashing all the stuff in a much smaller space in our own homes, in our garages and basements. And what we've learned is that there are good ways, mediocre ways, and really bad ways to store stuff. So we're going to put all those lessons to work in there for you. And like Jeff said, we're going to review a couple things that you may have not seen before.
So without further ado, let's crack this bad boy open because we got a lot of stuff to build and eventually stage up and store. So let's go to it.
Got to open up the zip tie because this is the first time we've been in here.
Don't threaten our audience.
I'm going to threaten you. You're trying to give away all my stuff. Let's get her open. Oh. Dude, this spot is huge.
It's a great space. You guys want to see? There you go. Unlock free swivel mode. So here's where we're going to be storing all our stuff.
10 foot wide, 20 feet deep. We probably would have liked to have a 15 foot wide, but based on cost, availability, and everything else, it's going to be a tight squeeze. But we're hoping to get 6 kayaks in here along this wall, and then, wall. You'll see in a minute. We got a special storage rack from Malone, and then over here we are going to be able to mount a couple of things this way and then have storage along here on the bottom, and then way back here we're hoping to go straight to the ceiling.
So we got some shelves to build, some kayak stands to build, and then some stuff to mount up on the wall here. And I think the only solution I didn't get to yet, because we got to go back and get the motors, is transom mount motor storage, which is a pain in the butt.
So we definitely do need to figure out motors, and really we got to figure everything out. So you're probably going to get a gigantic time lapse of us shoving everything in here. But first, we have something we need to build. So we have tools. We're going to go show you the kayak storage from Malone, which is really the unlock. This really wouldn't be possible at all or make any sense if we didn't have something, a cool solution from Malone. So let's see if it fits in here first.
Hit him with the time lapse.
Hit him with the time lapse.
Out on the water with rods in our hands, casting like legends but missing the plans. We're just okay, but we're giving our best. The nerds got our back through every cast and test. We're the aggressively average crew, hooking small fries, but we're honest and true. Reels and rods will tell you what's real, unbiased reviews, that's the deal. We don't need trophies or fish of the year, just laughs and good times with the nerds right here. Crankbaits and chatter, we'll give it a try, even if the fish just wave us goodbye. We're the aggressively average crew, hooking small fries, but we're honest and true. Reels and rods will tell you what's real, unbiased review.
Update time. Look at it. Would you look at it? We got stuff built. Now we have to fill the storage space. We've got a wall rack here from Menards. This thing was like 12 bucks, by the way.
It is plastic. Leave me alone.
But it's gonna work. So that allows us to hang all sorts of stuff. Each one of these little things was like 4 or 5 bucks. This was 12 bucks. It's 48 inches. If your studs are appropriately spaced, which they weren't, it's much easier, but we made it work. And that's gonna allow us to hang stuff up like this.
So we have our Malone standalone rack right here. Now these are great because one, they come pre-assembled. I love the straps. The straps actually do a lot more work than you would think, and they accommodate any hull shape. And one of my favorite parts about having something like this, so when you have a rack like this one where you've got multiple kayaks, I may have a heavy kayak here. So what the plan should be for you as a user is set this here. You take the front side and you just lay it right here. Now this is not gonna move, there's no wheels, so it stays stationary. Now you can come back to the other side. You can grab this other one if you want, and if not, you can just set it on the ground, and then you can pick this up and remove it, or put it on wheels. And now you have a really easy way to safely handle a lot of
Sturdy.
weight. You have a safe way to get kayaks down from a high angle, which honestly is like the hardest part. If you've ever had a rack like one of these, that is one of the hardest things with a heavier kayak. These are really designed for more recreational kayaks, but they have the capacity, as we'll show you, to handle some bigger yaks, even up high. So we'll have 2 on the floor, 1 or 2 on the floor, and then we'll have 1 or 2 up here in the middle, and then the rest up here, we're gonna put stuff and things.
But wait, there's more, because there's the staging rack. So this is like an in-store display rack from Malone, and it has wheels on it. And it barely fits the Wildy, but it will be great for 90% of our kayaks.
This is one of the widest kayaks you can get your hands on right now. And one of the cool things we like about this is there are actually rollers on foam under here, and they can be stationary foam if you want, but the rollers here are very cool.
It also comes with straps that you can attach to that. So if you were worried about your Wildy falling off, you can strap it down.
Which you should be. But what a really cool way. That is around 200 bucks. It costs you about 150 or 200 these days just to build a standalone rack on your own with casters like that, and it's not made of metal. So as a user, it's nice to have something custom, but as somebody that took us about 30 minutes to put together with a wrench and a ratchet set, and it was
20 bolts.
If you want to build your own, do that. We've done that for years. This is just another option for you. And now,
let's fill it.
The fun part, let's stuff everything in here.
Welcome to the storage unit. We have completed the project. Honestly, pretty dang clean. I think we did a good job with it. So we've got the 6 kayak rack here from Malone. Now we're not going to store 6 kayaks on this because it's really not made for giant kayaks, but we did find a great way to use the bottom rack here for the bigger kayaks. So we got our Wilderness there. This is where I'll store like my Old Town EPDL, for example. You can store anything big there. And then our smaller-ish kayaks will go up top. And then you can see on the other side there, we actually just utilize that as a multi-purpose rack. So that is going to hold a few of our like truck racks that we can get and use from Malone if we need them, and then some truck bed extenders. We got some paddles. You know, you can put various accoutrements in there, and that works really well. And then you swing over here, we've got the storage rack or the working rack here from Malone on casters. That's a nice way to just get kayaks out, wheel them around. Watch out for the camera! Holy crap! You can wheel around your kayaks with that one, so that gives us some good options there. And then we've got our wall rack here. Again, this was a super cheap but like heavy duty, kind of nice, somewhat premium feature for like 12 bucks plus 4, 8, 12, 16, whatever, about 50 bucks for that whole setup there. But that allows us to just hang whatever we want. So I've actually got the Newport seats on here. These are big, awkward. You don't want to take these apart and disassemble them every single time, but we can hang them up there. We got our paddles up here. Various parts for like the Boat Rover Aero inflatable. There's a bunch of parts for that too, so we can hang some there. And then our Malone freestanding racks, another option to set up or stage up your kayaks and help you get kayaks down from the top rack. So this isn't going to look like your standard storage room where it's just fully loaded all the way back to front. For us, we had to leave this alleyway here so that we can walk in with a bigger kayak and put it here, because we want one big kayak on that side, one big kayak on this side. So this allows us some free moving space. We would just roll the Malone thing out of here and then roll in with the big kayaks. And we've got the Malone wheels that we can also use, which is a great way if you're solo. So like Paul and I both have a key to this place. If I want to come by myself and just grab a kayak, I've got wheels, I've got a rack, I've got freestanding things. We've got it set up so an individual can do this and then go meet the other person. So that'll be nice and convenient there. And then you roll on to the back. We've got our a mountain of inflatables. This is Mount Inflatable there. It's pretty fantastic. We've got the Newport right there as well, and actually probably leaving it over here because it's the one we're gonna wheel around and use the most. So easy access to the Newport NS130. Got a glide sup here in case my kids want to go out on the sup for the day. We got the Aero boat. We got the Isle. Those are something we'll be giving away in the future. Just a heads up. Just a heads up. That's something we're gonna do. I'm not gonna ship it to you. You got to come to me, but we're gonna have some fun, do a meetup. Maybe we hand those out. What we want to shoot for is maybe around the spring, we do like a river cleanup or some sort of a meetup, get some folks together. If you can make it out to hang out with us for the day, we'll have some fun. We'll do some fishing. We'll probably grill up some burgers and dogs and stuff. And then we'll hand out some of this stuff that we just don't really use anymore. And we've already completed our reviews on. You kind of can't just keep reviewing and reviewing stuff you've already reviewed. It doesn't make sense. And if we don't use it daily, there's no point. I'd rather you use it if you're gonna.
You can only be in one sup at a time.
You can only be, exactly. I mean, my kids like the sup. I'm probably going to keep that, but The Rover Arrow, it's a great boat. It's just not one that I use most of the time. And then the Isle, again, it's a great boat. We just kind of prefer the NS 130. It just does all the things we want and more. Then back in this corner here, we've got like, these are just motor boxes. This is actually an old NK300. I have the HD cable kit now, so I had to upgrade that. So that actually has a motor in it. I just don't use it. But that's there. We got some Malone racks as well. This is something else we would give away because we already have the bed extender. It's over here on this rack. That's an unopened box version of that. And then we've got the bucket of stuff. There's so many things. I got Boondocks wheels in here, all my fly fishing rods, another air pump, and an old trolling motor. So we got some stuff. And then we've got another MISC rack, so extra kayak crates. I love having them. We have so many that we reviewed over the years, but there's just not enough room to keep them all in my house. So I got a 16 by 16 that sits on the Wildy. I got the Source crate over here. I got the Wilderness crate. And then we've got some various parts on this shelf, and then the bins for additional various things. We'll fill these up later. Paul's still got to clear out his garage. When he does, he can just bring stuff here, and we'll try to label these, keep it organized, right, Paul? Organized. He's just gonna throw random stuff. It's not gonna be organized. Hopefully we can keep them organized, label these with markers and stuff, and that'll be easy to find things. And then way down there, there's the Kula, which is actually a really cool cooler. But that is also like the bucket seat for the Rover Arrow. So I want to keep all the stuff in one spot. There's accessories for the boat over here too. So if somebody wanted to roll in, and then we'll have our motors in here too. So they want to roll in, grab a motor. We got to set up our motor rack still. We're working on that. But they could grab a motor, grab the Rover Arrow and the accessories, all the stuff you need, and a pump, and go do the thing, right? That's the idea, and not have to have it at my house. Well, that's the other thing too, is like the benefit of having a space that we can both go to is if I need something and Paul's on a work trip or not at home, I don't have to go break into his house like I normally do, and I never tell him about, and then steal stuff from his house as well as eat his food. Okay, he knows I've never done that. Fine, whatever. It just makes it easier. So there's the walkthrough, you guys. Here are some of the lessons that we learned along the way, and something that we can recommend to you. And again, this doesn't mean you have to have a storage unit to benefit from what we talk about in this video or what we show. These are all things that we think would be good solutions for your garage, your basement. Wherever you store your stuff, your she shed or your man cave, he shed, she shed by the she shore. I knew it. So real quick, something specific to storage spaces, and then everything else would be specific to like your garage or basement, he shed, she shed, right? But with storage spaces specifically, make sure you call around. Make sure you're getting, one, the best price, two, that you're getting the right dimensions. So sometimes storage places, not to name any names, they will say it's a 10 by 20, it's a 10 by 30, and then you get there and it's a 9 by 18.
A 9.845.
Exactly. Because they're not measuring the interior space, they're measuring the exterior space of that, or the general floor plan, right? So make sure that you call them up, get that info. In this case, I called the place we are at now, and I was like, what's the interior dimensions? They said, I don't know. And I said, can I look at it? And they said, yes. So oftentimes you can get a chance to go scope out the spot. So make sure, you like the gated security, make sure that the security pad works, make sure that you can maneuver.
That's a big one. Make sure there's enough space. Like we have a lot of space. People can pass by us even when we're here. And then find out where your actual unit would be. If you're all the way in a corner, maybe that's a problem for you. So just think of, just like you're buying a home and you want to think about where it's at, this is the exact same thing.
Yep. So that's important for storage spaces, as well as like get a super heavy duty lock.
Weather resistant.
Yeah.
You got to have multiple keys. Like, so they all come with 2 keys, but make sure you give one to the other person that has one. We already did the exchange.
Pow. So the circle locks, we got one from Brinks. It also has like, just general insurance on it because it's Brinks, which is nice. But heavy duty, drop resistant, water resistant, weather resistant, that's what you want. But the circle locks are generally, they'll say storage unit, like storage approved. Yes. So this is kind of what you want for a place like this. That's what we're going to be using.
Jeff also talked about insurance. So this is not going to be covered under your home insurance. You need to get a separate set of insurance for all this kind of stuff. Now, if it's just one kayak and maybe some odds and ends, that's great. If it's at your house, that's great because it's covered. But just something to think about. If you have a lot of things or expensive things, you're going to want to get some insurance to cover that.
And storage facilities often will sell that separately, so you can do that. You can get your own insurance for it. There's different options.
So with any space, one thing you're going to want to do is make sure that 2 things. One, make sure you know exactly what you're going to put in the space. This goes for garage, storage unit, basement, whatever. Think about, okay, 1 kayak and 2 kayaks. Once you go to 2 kayaks, it's a much different situation. You're going to have one on the wall, you're going to have one on the ground. around. You're going to make a cart with both. You want to make sure the cart can load in out of your truck. The other thing is you want to make sure you have enough space to maneuver. We talked about, yeah, we have this hallway, but that's not really enough. It's not just enough to store it. I have to make sure that I can get the kayak out and move it in and out, and then get the other ones in and out too. So you have to make sure that your space is functional for you actually want it to do. And that means gathering everything together, looking at it and be like, wow, that's more than I thought, because I guarantee you that that's going to happen. The other thing is make sure that whatever space you have, you're going to want to just assume you need 20 to 30% more space than what you think. Every single
space around the stuff.
Every single time you're gonna be like, I can fit everything in there. You're gonna get in there and you will not be able to get all the way to the back the day that you absolutely need to, and you will be late. You'll be like, in a rush, I have to get all the way in the back. Where is everything? Trust me, that extra 20, 30% just gives you a little bit of breathing room no matter what kind of space you're in.
A great example of that is if you're working on a garage right now and you go and you store everything in there, but then you realize when you pull in a car, you can't open your doors. I've been there. I've done that.
I've been there for years, which is one of the reasons why we're here right now.
I have to tell my kids, I'm like, I pull into the garage, I'm like, do not open the door. I will come open the door for you, because I gently do it. And they like to go, pow!
Can't afford you opening this door.
I cannot afford that. Anytime you pull into tight parking spaces, you're like, listen, calm down.
You get out
don't
first.
slam the
I'm
door
not
open.
even pulling it.
So that's definitely something important. And when it comes to spaces like garage for kayaks or a storage space like this, like, you have to keep in mind your kayak is 12 and a half, 13 feet, whatever. It's also like 40 inches wide if you got a big boy like the Wildy here. And if you get a 10 by 20 storage space,
that's all of it. That's more than half. 2/3 of it is going to be 2 of those kayaks.
It's a lot. I mean, look at it. It takes up the majority of this space. So and that'll happen in your garage too.
I've learned that the hard way many times, and hence why I have a house with a 3-car garage now. It was like a requirement. I wouldn't have moved without it, because that was one of the biggest problems, was just not being able to get my wife's car in, don't have a place for the lawnmower. It's very frustrating. So when you're mapping everything out, do the map out part and be realistic. That is probably the biggest tip that I would give most people. And then hang what you can hang. You see, we have some stuff here hung, and we talked about, hey,
opens up a lot of space.
A ton of space, right? And then always go up. So in the back there, we went up as high as we possibly could. We do have the opportunity to put some shelving in the back, and then Jeff and I have talked about maybe putting rods up here, but maybe some shelving up there too for even more stuff later on. But it all comes down to
it can evolve over time.
Absolutely, look at what you have and then just be realistic with yourself.
One important thing, just while we're kind of talking about racks and storage and shelves and all that, is know your weight capacities.
Oh, baby,
kayak stands are notorious for having a lower weight capacity than you would think. So if you look at it and it says weight capacity 80 pounds of shelf, 100 pounds of shelf, 150 pounds of shelf, keep in mind when you put a kayak like this
with
Wildy,
nothing in it.
With nothing in it, this Wildy is like 140 pounds.
The
so we're already at capacity. 150, 175.
Flat. That's flat.
If you then put anything on top of
electronics, batteries,
you're
accessories, yak attack crate. You're over that max capacity, and you're putting yourself at risk. One,
it will eventually.
Yes, and then it can damage just the kayak, because it's being held up by something that's not meant for it. And two, the rack might crumble when you're not here and just obliterate everything below it.
So make sure you do your research on the weight capacity and make sure that you can actually store your kayak on there.
Make good judgments.
Make good choices, people. The other thing with storage that's important too is you can see how these are set, right? When you put a lot of weight on plastic and then temperature changes up and down over time, expanding and contracting.
Well, when the temperature changes, it does get a little bit softer, and then when it gets cold, it's going to harden up again, which is something that we have here in the Midwest, because we got that winter thing.
And if you live in like a hotter climate, that can be an issue, and you probably already know that. Maybe you found out the hard way. So with softer plastic kayaks, with thinner hull plastic kayaks, you're going to have a risk going on with that where it would warp, right? So we don't want to do that. Now, Crescent, extremely rigid, extremely thick plastic. We're not too worried about this. A good idea, though, would be for us to take these from Malone. They actually include like these little foam pieces and just add a little padding in there.
There's some big dogs, too. I'm actually going to put these under the Crescent just right there like that.
There's no reason not to. And you can buy foam like this for very cheap on Amazon or wherever, right?
That's meant for like car racks. So it's literally for that purpose.
Always better safe than sorry. Always better safe than sorry. And the Wildy right there on the bottom, that's on huge blocks of foam right now. So we always protect your investments and make sure that you pad those suckers up. Sometimes it'll come with a little bit of padding. This is not enough. It's not enough to make a big difference.
That's a grip. That is not a pad.
Yep. Yeah, it's just really there so it doesn't slip out. But yeah, we would highly recommend add some extra padding. So also keep in mind, I mentioned it a little bit ago, like these spaces can and should evolve. So don't let your stuff just pile up. Every fall and every spring, I would highly recommend reevaluating your storage setup, how you've got everything structured. Go relabel stuff, go reorganize your bins, get rid of stuff, give it away to somebody who's new to fishing that needs some things that you're not using. Give it to your kids, let your kids use it, do something like that. Make some good use out of it. Something I love to do is take those big 27-gallon storage bins and just kind of reorganize and relabel them. So that's something I would highly recommend.
Jeff and I are really lucky, but we're both pretty meticulous with our storage spaces. Like, I absolutely must know where everything is. All the pieces, we're like, put them in a bag, like tape it to the rack. Like, we want to make sure that
otherwise you'll never use it.
You'll never use it, and that is so frustrating. Then plus, if we're ever going to schmiv any of this away to you, we want to make sure you're getting every single piece. So it's just so important. Like, if you just chuck it in a corner, you might as well just throw it away. And that's like how we have always thought about these things. Like, again, we are meticulous. Get meticulous if you're not already. Otherwise, you're just a pack rat.
Get meticulous. I love that. Should be a shirt. Get meticulous.
Get meticulous.
It's just like a bunch of 27-gallon crates, just
That's
like
incredible.
labeled.
All labeled with
All
right.
Writer downer right there. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully this was helpful for you. I know, like, if we're into fishing, we're eventually accumulating stuff.
You're already behind the gun. You're definitely getting stuff.
Yeah, if you fish, you're into storage and organization. Period. The end. That's the reality of it. So hopefully you got some ideas from this video and it was helpful. If it was, be sure to subscribe, smash a like, ring the notification bell, and all that good stuff. And we'd love to see you on our podcast. We go live every Wednesday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern. So be there or be square.
No, that's it.
We'd love to see you there and talk to you in chat. All right, that's it for this video. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Okay, bye.
Split them. Oh, no!